Okay, so much like the Kirby video, to anyone who has been around this channel for a while, hell has frozen over for a second time. So these two Oreck models are both completely identical. They are the U2000RB-1, the machines with the Enduro-Life belt system. So to go into a little background on this. Now, I traditionally am most certainly not a fan of Oreck's. Like I said, I think anyone who's been around this channel for a while knows that, is very well acquainted with that fact. So, over time, as I've used Oreck's and been around them more at work, I've really started to appreciate just kind of the no bullshit simplicity behind them, especially these classic models where like they don't even have lights or anything on them, because you talk about, you've got, other than the 5 screws on the base plate, once you have that out of the way, you have 3 screws and you have the motor completely removed from the base, and you can change a fan out or whatever you need to do, pull the whole thing apart if you want to throw the base in the sink, you know, pretty much, really, again, whatever you want to do with them. And I've really enjoyed that. The other thing is, really, the more and more that I've used them and been around them when they're actually in proper working order, for what they are, they're not all that bad of a machine, especially performance-wise. Now, don't get me wrong, I really don't think they're worth the price tag, especially of the residential units, but that's where kind of the beauty of these commercial models come in, is if you're comparing them just to the base classic units that they have currently, you save quite a bit of money and you get a lot better features. So, for example, I think the base entry-level XL Classic, I think they call it the XL Classic Limited Edition. It's all black, classic style like this, has the older style bag, has the helping hand handle, but it has a foot switch and 1 speed. That is, I think Oreck has had it on sale for a while at $179. It's regularly supposed to be $249. These just had their prices raised on Amazon, jacked way up for whatever reason. Why, I don't know. But when I first started looking, they were around $183. And there was a point where you could get the classic model, like the true classic commercial, the one that's all blue. It has a regular 35-foot commercial cord, the non-pigtail one, unlike these, and 1 speed, the normal belt. You could get one of those for $116. And that's really not bad considering what comparable ultra-lightweight machines from the likes of Tacony cost. Especially considering that these blow those out of the water, in my opinion, on performance on hard floors. Especially if you're comparing a Tacony model with 1 speed to one of these with 1 speed. Do they perform as well on carpets? No, but for the most part, I don't think the average person is going to really see all that large of a difference in the cleaning performance of them. And I don't think most people who are doing a decent job with their cleaning upkeep are really going to see a difference in what it can do with their carpets. So basically, I've been really impressed with both these little units. The biggest thing that I've gotten into as of late is, and I think working at a shop like I do has kind of burnt me out, I'm just so sick of overly complex machines, and Dysons have a huge part in that, on burning me out. I've honestly gotten to the point where really I don't even like dealing with even my better bagless machines, any of them. I don't even want to have to dump the canister out once I'm done. I want something that I can plug in, turn on, use, wrap the cord up, put it away, be done. I don't want to have to clean brush rolls out. I don't want to have to be constantly changing settings, changing belts. So these I have kind of fallen in love with. I have not enjoyed vacuuming and actually wanted to vacuum in a very, very long time. And these have kind of brought that back for me. So So you're probably wondering why I have two. So the first one I got, and I got it new open box on eBay. I got it slightly cheaper than what I would have from Amazon. So I just said, why the hell not, and went with it. So I've made a couple changes to this one. The first being I've upgraded it to the CC dock because I want HEPA bags. You can technically use HEPA bags with the XL style system without the dock, but I wanted them self-sealing. That brings me on to another point that I'm going to cover really quickly, hoping to not make this video too long. So, if you are looking for generic bags for your Oreck, generic HEPA, there are a decent amount of choices, but I've been disappointed by most of them. Now, a lot of the ones that I've seen online, especially ones from Crucial Vacuums and other equivalent sources, are not self-sealing. Now, in my opinion, that's one of the biggest benefits of the self-docking system, the CC system. So here is a genuine Oreck CC bag. Now, Oreck has pulled a little trick with its newest bags and their newest machines with the what they call the CC Plus docking system. Now, for years, they've had these little tabs on the CC system, and I don't think most people have paid much attention to them. I know I never did. They don't really serve a function, and they didn't up until now. So what TTI did when they redesigned the bags is they redesigned the new machine bag docks so that this tab over here that's running horizontally now runs vertically, meaning these old genuine bags will not fit into the new machines. But they have made the new bags backward compatible by having the slots still open horizontally as well as vertically on the new bags. So at least there's that. But planned obsolescence like that still pisses me off. Now, most generic bags completely avoid that and have a collar set up like this. But again, what I don't like is most don't use the CC docking system. Now, these are my favorite generic bags that I've been able to find so far. They're by Envirocare. They're definitely not as cheap as what you can get with other generic bags. And if you look online, you'll find that out. But if you're someone who wants the carbon filtration or the odor eliminating, I guess you could say, filtration layer, like the genuine bags have, so the bags don't stink after a while, because they do take a while to fill, and if you have pets, you're going to have smell. And you also want one that self-seals itself when you pull it out. These are pretty much your only options that I've been able to find as far as generic bags. Now, I've been running them in this one with the CC dock on it. I've been very impressed with them. They haven't really lost any noticeable airflow. They pack very full, just like Oreck bags. They're very well constructed, and I have yet to get odors. Between the cats that I have here, one of the other reasons why I bought this, if you watched the Rubbermaid Sanitaire knockoff video, I clean my grandparents' home. I'm pretty much the only one who keeps up with the upkeep in their home. And I had just gotten sick of dealing with the Sanitaire. The wide path makes it quicker to clean their house, but it eats through belts. I'm constantly having to adjust the height. The bags that you can use with it, the selection is kind of crappy, and they don't really filter that well. And I just got sick of hauling the machine around and pushing it. So that was actually why I bought this in the first place. I wanted something with big bags that you could get, HEPA filtration in, that were efficient, didn't lose suction, didn't spray dust everywhere, and ideally something with a true lifetime belt. So enter these. Now, I'm quickly approaching the 10-minute recording limit on my camera, so I'm going to take a break and I'll be right back with you. So the reason why I settled on this model, I actually originally wasn't going to. There's a newer updated version of this called the U2000RB-1, I want to say. It's something along those lines, and I'll put links in the description to what I'm talking about. But It's pretty much this exact same model. It's just got a black hood and 2 speeds. Now, the reason I didn't go with that one is once we got one into work, I noticed something, and there's a difference. And I think, as far as I can tell, this takes place on any newer Oreck that you have. Any 2-speed Oreck that uses the Enduro-Life belt system, or is advertised to have the Enduro-Life belt system, uses a flat synthetic corded belt, very similar to what's in the Eureka Boss Smart Vac series, or the new Hoover Wind Tunnel T-series that have the clutch. The Oreck belt, to be fair, I have gotten my hands on one. It definitely seems a lot more durable and a lot less likely to need replacing than either of those, but I wasn't really a fan. I don't like synthetic lifetime belts like that. I'd much rather have traditional old either geared or serpentine style belt setup like you have in most powerhead canisters. That's why I went with this. This has that, which I don't have tools at hand to pull the bottom plate off, but I can provide links to that as well. So this actually uses a serpentine style synthetic belt to drive this brush roll. This is just the same classic old Oreck XL brush roll. It just has an end for that serpentine style belt and a motor pulley for that as well. So it's not like the Kenmore Panasonics that have it where it's just a wooden brush roll and there's no grooves for the belt to ride in. And overall, I've been very impressed with this. This has been one of the first vacuums I've really ever had where I've been able to put it on every single conceivable surface that I would use a vacuum on and never had issue. Every single thing it cleans well that I've put it up against personally that I have. So I can clean lighter, smaller rugs like that without sucking them up or sucking them into the machine. I can clean even this carpet, which anyone who's been here for years kind of knows what a pain this carpet is to clean, especially to get pet hair and things out. It does fine on this, it does fine on my normal carpeting, does fine on the hard flooring that I've put it on, and that's all with no adjustment, no nothing. You just turn it on and you go. And that's the thing that I really loved about this, is it just works, period, the end. And again, it's simple. If anything happens, it's easy to take apart. The other thing that's impressed me is I was kind of terrified of getting this and getting it to my grandparents and having it clogging. Because the one thing with cleaning my grandparents is, and I've talked about this before, they leave toothpicks everywhere that get knocked all on the floor in all kinds of places. So I'm used to having something like the Sanitaire or an equivalent machine, even if it's clean air, where it breaks up things with the brush roll well enough, or the fan, where it won't clog. And I've seen some Orecks clogged by some ridiculously easy-looking stuff to pick up at work. But, again, I've had no issues with this machine. It sucked up probably 20 to 40 toothpicks in the time I've had it. And then a ton of carpet fiber, fuzz, all kinds of other fine crap. It's never had an issue of clogging on me. And I've been pretty impressed with that. So there is the model number sticker and everything. And the serial. This one, if this will ever focus, was built on the 219th day of 2015. This was the first one I got. Now, I like this one so much, and I was so impressed with it. And when I enjoy machines this much, regardless of whether they're likely to be discontinued, which, let's be honest, this Oreck design has been basically identical, other than the addition of that belt for the past 50 years now, pretty much. Not a big deal to worry about, but I wanted to get another anyway. So this I bought for, well, let me preface this by saying the cheapest price I've seen on any of these Orecks is there was a period of like 2 or 3 days on Amazon where the base model blue commercial was down to about $116. I got this for $119, tax and shipping included, off of eBay. Now, it was in an absolutely trashed box. And there was a liquidation company that was selling 2 of them. The reason why they were selling them off and selling them so cheaply is because their functionality was greatly impeded. They hadn't been turned on yet or anything like that. They were new. But basically, the box got crushed in shipment. And this back metal tube got crushed. And I mean completely crushed. There was really no room for air or dirt to have gone through it. Now, that doesn't pose a problem to me. I work at a vacuum shop. I can get the parts cheaply, and most parts are incredibly cheap and common for these old-style machines. So that pipe cost a whopping $7, I want to say. So I just said, okay, you know what, to hell with it. I put in an offer. I paid $119 for it because I offered less than what they were trying to sell it for. And I got it. The only thing wrong with it otherwise is it's missing the cord clamp that clamps the pigtail ends together that one has, but it hasn't impeded use, so I don't really care. And it's not worth spending the extra money on kind of the backup machine to get. Now this brings me on to my next point that I found very interesting. I was looking around one day and I thought, you know, most commercial machines have a shakeout bag option. A lot of Orecks are used commercially. So I wondered if they made one. Because it just, I don't know, the idea of an Oreck with a shakeout bag, it's the least legitimate commercial machine I can actually think of. So the idea was funny to me, but Oreck actually makes a shakeout bag. And this legitimately is an Oreck part because it shipped out from TTI and came in a TTI bag with a TTI packing slip. And it's actually pretty damn interesting. It's well built. It's actually been very interesting to see how exactly the machine, I guess you could say, performs and what it can pull out of the carpeting. Needless to say, even with the performance I have had, seeing what it can pull out with one of these shakeout bags in place and being able to empty it out, I've been impressed. It's also easier to clean out than any other comparable like sanitaire bag or anything like that. It's easier to dump, it's easier to turn inside out to clean and vacuum out, and it seems to filter fairly well. That was also another part of the reason is I found this and wanted to try it out, but I already had the CC dock in this and I didn't want to keep taking it off, putting it back on, and eventually break it. So this came up cheap. And if I've been toying around with the idea of cleaning commercially to kind of make additional money on the side. So I've kind of got this prepped and ready for that should I ever want to. And this is a pain to put on one-handed, but I've been very impressed with these little machines. I have a newfound respect for Oreck, I guess you could say. And don't get me wrong, there are definitely, especially with this classic model, complaints that are well-founded against them. But when you take them at face value for what they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do, they're actually brilliant little machines. So I can't find too much fault with them. This is my personal favorite of the models. I did have an issue. This one had its brush roll. The bearings started going bad just a few days after I got it. It seems to be just a production fluke. I got a new brush roll for about $17. That is the one drawback. The Enduro-Life belt brush rolls for these are expensive versus the generic. But after that, I haven't had an issue with it since. And I've been incredibly impressed with what it's been able to do and what a joy it is to work with. So again, my only other recommendation, and I'll try and put links below to all this, if you want HEPA bags, use the Envirocare. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below.